What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of At Home with Mark. Today is season 4, and it is episode 19. And I have the Lord of Fuzz himself, Mr. Markus Reeves. Reeves Electro. Dude, Marcus,
Howdy
it's really
ho.
good to hang out with you, man. This is going to be
Hey
super
Mark,
fun.
thanks for having me on. Yeah, I really appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. I was just like, it's two Marks kind of hanging out, shooting the
Yeah,
crap, talking nerdy stuff, man. That's what we're
yeah,
going to
yeah,
do.
yeah.
Um,
Mark in the
so
sand.
Yeah, man. And what's cool about this and cool about our community is we kind of met through Instagram.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah.
which I think is great. And I've been looking forward to actually having some FaceTime with you and learning more about you via other friends and other, videos like that pedal show and stuff, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I want to ask you, and I'm going to ask you the same question. I know you've seen this show a bunch, but like I want to ask you that same question about your earliest musical memory because
Sure.
I think it's a very important part of our
Yeah.
lives that
It
put
says
you
a
on your
lot about
path.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that I'm going to chunk this into two. Um, the first music music I can ever remember, and then the first bit of music that really made me sit up and go, I get it now. So I guess I must have been about yeah, 4 or 5. I was poorly. I was ill in bed. All I can remember. I think yeah. I don't know what was wrong with me. The radio was on, and I can remember. This tells you how old I am. Chirpy Chirpy Cheep Cheep by I can't. It's some sort of California summertime hippie kind of thing. Where's your mama gone? And
Nice.
it's oh god, do you know what? I can't even remember the name of the act. But it was a slice of 70s kind of folk pop, really. And yeah, so that was that, and it kind of intrigued music as always intrigued me, and I'd kind of got into music as I grew up and as I got older, and I just by what I heard on the radio, so what I was fed by, the playlist basically. There was no internet, there was no MTV, there was nothing. It was just what was on the radio. So I kind of, I fell across uh, bands like Electric Light Orchestra as I got older, and there's a band, the UK band called Sweet, which were kind of like a proto New York Dolls, really, and the glitter kind of thing, the whole glam rock. Really into those for a while. And just kind of all the chart stuff. And then I went to, I finished junior school, and in the UK we don't have, well, we didn't have a middle school then, so I was 11 and I went up to seniors basically. And I must have been there about a year, and I started hanging out with the older guys. I didn't really kind of. I always associated with older people. Really, I just had that kind of thing where I just thought kids of my age were kind of childish. And these one day, one of these lads, they were mods. Okay, so they had the Ivy League and the mohair suits and all that. They looked great. There's me in my flares and my big collars and all this. It was 1978, and one of these lads turned up with a tape recorder one lunchtime, put it on, and I just an absolute light bulb moment. He played a tape of an album called "In the City" by The Jam, and it was a song called "Art School." First track on that album. And literally, the first 3 chords just made me like. There was something about it, the urgency of it. It's so The Jam are kind of like they were they weren't really punks. It was new wave. It was kind of punk growing up, really. You know, getting a bit older and a bit more mature. And they referenced bands like the Who and the Small Faces and the Kinks, and you know all those bands from back in the day that I knew of because they'd been on the radio, and the Beatles and the Stones and all those sort of things. But they didn't feel like they were mine. They belonged to somebody else. They were from another generation. And suddenly the Jam come along and they reference all these other bands that I know, so it feels familiar, but they are now, and they belong to me. You know, as an 11-year-old kid, that was so powerful. And I just came back after summer recess. I had the Hush Puppies. I'd got my jacket. I'd got my stay pressed. I was done, you know, and a guitar.
Yeah.
And literally, I've followed Paul Weller avidly since. If anybody is watching this, or Mark yourself, if you don't know the Jam and Paul Weller, you're missing out. Really, he is an absolute genius.
I listened to that record when you sent it to me a week or so ago.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah.
While I was like out doing yard work, and I was like, this is totally like almost like that post-punk, like you're saying, like the new wave kind of punk thing that is got its own flavor all its own, man. You know,
that's a Rickenbacker into a high watt, 100 watt high watt cranked.
Nice,
man.
Nice.
That's gonna cut your face off. That is. You don't need a treble booster for that, do you?
No, you do not, my friend. Hey, I wanted to ask you. So you said you always gravitated towards like the older crowd. Are you an only child?
No, I've got an older sister. Yeah.
Okay.
So
it's interesting because my daughter's an only child, and you know she's around us, my wife and I, and so she's around adults all the time. So she's very mature. So I'm like, I wonder if you had a similar experience growing up, where you just were like around more adults, and you know.
I was just quite cocky as a kid. You know, I mean, I used to so one of the things that I did to kind of ingratiate myself with these older lads was I would go and buy cigarettes. Okay, cigarettes are bad, kids. But I'd literally I'd be at 11 years old. I was the only one that had enough balls to go into the local little corner shop and just buy cigarettes, and this was the 70s. They'd sell anything to anybody. and then I'd go and sell them for whatever, I don't know, 10 pence each to these lads behind the math block. It was not only the older kids, but it was kind of the slightly dodgy crowd that attracted me as well. I liked a bit of danger.
Yeah. Oh, that's great, man. I can see you as, I mean, my daughter's 11. If I saw her around the corner, like throwing singles out to Lucy's to some people, I'd be like, bro, what are you doing? You're a gangster. I can't even get mad at you. You're an entrepreneur. That's crazy, man. Hey, let's take a quick second to say hi to everybody that's coming out. So Sasha's here.
Yo, dude.
Curtis Manifex is here.
Man, yeah.
Chris from OCE.
Yeah. Josh Scott's best friend.
Aaron, your picture. Look at you, buddy. Oh my gosh. Look at that boy cleaning up.
Hey.
And BV, thanks for hanging out again.
BV, hey, dude. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's interesting to me because that entrepreneurial spirit that has survived in you too, like, because to venture out and do what you do now, I mean, that takes that kind of mindset. Like, there's a lot of people that, you know, may want to tinker and do things, but they would never have the balls to like throw yourself out in the world like this and create a product and like, you know, manufacture the product.
I had my own digital print business for best part of a decade back in the 90s. which
How'd you get into that?
well, when I left school, I was a screen printer. That was kind of what I fell into, really, and that kind of I've never really been a calculated type of person. I've always like just kept rolling with wherever I roll to. So I just fell across a job as a screen printer, and I just got into printing, in all its forms, and that was my career, really, for the majority of my life, up until I guess I was about 40.
Okay.
And the business in the global recession, 2008, 2009, just I lost three of my main clients in a week, and it just, I learned lots of lessons from doing that. But so that was a kind of, and I then had to kind of pick. I lost everything. It wasn't a case of being one of those smart directors that had a stash, that the tax man didn't know about. I literally just had a couple of guitars and my record collection, and that was it. House, car, hot girlfriend, the whole lot, overnight.
Oh man.
And I just picked myself up, and got a job and started working again, and got into the travel industry. God alone knows how I managed that. I knew nothing about travel. And then the pandemic came along. I was in travel for about 10 years. Pandemic came along. TPS came along, and boom.
Bam. I know.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
crazy. That's like it, even though it's not an overnight thing, because you've been hustling and doing what you're doing now for a while, it still feels like, whoa, okay, like this is a viable option, kind of thing, which is awesome. I want to ask you, when we talk about guitars, right? And we talked about like the jam and talking about the music that you grew up listening to and what forged you in the fires of rock and roll.
Yeah.
So can you describe to me, this is something that came across my mind the other night when I was thinking about this show in general, this show, not just this specific episode, but the show. So many guitarists, and like, I can vividly remember the first time I held an instrument, like held a guitar in my hands.
Yeah.
Can you describe what you felt and what was going through your mind the first time you held a guitar in your hands?
It was just an old acoustic. My dad bought me for my birthday, and literally from as soon as I got this thing, I was like, I wanted to write songs. I got so into the jam that, and he was all about songwriting. There was no kind of, it wasn't pop music. Paul Weller was about writing songs and having a message, and I literally learnt 3 chords and started writing songs.
Nice.
And I do covers as a kind of tip of the hat to people that I enjoy listening to, but I did a thing when I was in my 30s, I think, where I had a little residency, but it was murder, and I just hated every minute of singing other people's songs. So yeah, I think it was the promise. I had it just felt like there was so much in this thing that needed to come out. So yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
I think
It's such a magical thing because I like the idea, as a fellow songwriter, I like the idea of creating something from nothing.
Yeah.
The fact that I can just look Yeah, the fact that I can just look, there's a guitar sitting right there, right?
Mm.
And nothing will happen unless we pick it up. You
Yeah,
know, I
yeah,
love the like ambiguity and the danger in that. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, there's a sense, like you said, like you're kind of are like almost like the adrenaline junkie, kind of like a little bit of danger.
yeah,
That's how I feel about being on stage and being in an improvisational environment. I
yeah.
thrive in that. You know, I thrive in
Okay,
the wrong
yeah,
notes. You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, but it is like a cool experience for you to be a young kid and like, because how old were you? Were you 11 or 12?
No, I was probably so. Yeah, I was probably about 12. I started seriously writing probably a couple of years later. Um, well, I don't even say seriously. I mean, just trying to write songs. You know, it took me a while to pick it up because my dad, who is left-handed, he would restring the guitar. We knew nothing about guitars, so he'd restring it to play it, and then I'd have to restring it to play it. So it took quite a while, and in the end, you know, he gave up, and yeah, that's yeah, it's funny what you do when you don't know anything about it, isn't it?
So when did you get your first electric?
I was late on. I think I was about 18. It was a K black Les Paul copy, like a
Nice.
proper good K Les Paul. Yeah, I sold that for peanuts.
Oh
Um,
man.
mate, the gear we've loved and lost, eh? It's just. But yeah, so yeah, Les Paul copy, and I had that for quite a while. Um, Terrible amp. I can't remember what it was. A really horrible transistor amp.
Right.
Um, but I really got into my flow when I picked up a um, I had a Marshall. My first tube amp was a Marshall JMP 25, which is a. It was intended as a PA. It was a two-channel, two-input kind of little 25-watt kind of plexi-ish thing. Um, and I had, I can't remember the guitar I had with that now. I think it was probably still that Les Paul, but I went out and I bought a Governor, Marshall Governor. Okay, so
Nice.
this would have been about 85, 6, something like that. And it was like and the new thing. I've still got somewhere the Marshall 30th anniversary carrier bag that it all came in.
Oh hell yeah,
30th
dude.
anniversary. Yeah,
That's crazy.
I know.
That's awesome.
And a Sans amp as well. The Tech 21.
Oh, I lost you, Marcus. Frozen. Not like not like Elsa and Anna. Let's not get into that, fellas. All right, Marcus, see what you can do to get that internet connection. We had a little bit of technical issue difficulties earlier, y'all. So hopefully we'll get this back online quickly. In the meantime, who else is in here? In the meantime, let's do show and tell while we're waiting for Marcus to come back. I don't know if I've ever showed you guys my 99 Strat. It's Shoreline Gold. I just pulled it out. I'm going to put it in OpenSea, and it sounds great. It's got a skunk. Oh, there he is. All right, we were doing show
Sorry
and
about
tell
that,
while you're.
guys. Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah.
So you were saying Sans Amp from Tech 21.
Yeah, Sam's out Tech 21. I mean, everybody goes on about digital modeling and stuff, but there's always been so many good modeling, analog modeling pedals. That Sans amp thing is off the charts. If you can find one, they did. I think they did a reissue, a classic reissue of them, and it's like got Messer, Marshall, Fender, and one other. I can't remember. But I tell
I
you what,
remember that thing actually.
yeah, I'm a big fan of the Joyo, like the American sound, the British sound. The American sound is such a good Fender um, kind of Fend, but just I've got loads of recordings that I've gone straight in with, and it sounds brilliant. You can't tell the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean and like technology has come so far, like, and even in the past 5 to 10 years, I would say. I
Yeah.
was talking to someone earlier because one of my favorite bands, their guitar player, right when COVID happened, had a stroke,
Oh
and
man.
he's a young dude too, and so he's not playing with them right now. He's like in rehabilitation, and like his
Yeah.
speech isn't all the way back to normal and whatnot. So he's working on it, but they have a sub that's playing in his spot right now. And one of my buddies was like, "What do you think about his tone?" And I was like, I'm not a huge fan because he goes through the quad core stuff, the neural DSP stuff, which I've heard is great. I've never played through it. I'm just more of an amp guy, I think. But I
I
had a
think
Kemper for a
yeah.
little bit. I sold it, so that shows
I
you how
think
much I loved it.
the problem with these digital things is option paralysis, isn't it? You just
hmm
you
Oh no!
we
Oh, there you are. You
oh
came
no
back.
oh
You're
good
back.
okay. We're all chasing tone, aren't we? And if you've got this toy in front of you that has got literally infinite options, you're going to forever be dicking with it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got a JMP with a tone, a volume, maybe a bass, yeah, and you work it, you know.
hmm
So
What
yeah,
do you think about those Fender Tone Masters? Like, oh, I think I lost you again, Marcus. Oh no. Um, when he gets back. What do you guys in the comments, like comparatively speaking, do you think Fender's onto something in terms of, just having like a one-stop shop, like, like the Super Reverb or the Deluxe, um, the Twin kind of thing? What do you guys think about those? Because I think they kind of hit the nail on the head in terms of simplicity of what we're talking about with option paralysis. I don't necessarily feel like those amplifiers are doing I don't want to say justice to those circuits, but I found that the reverb on those is super washy. Way too quick, way too wet, way too quick. I mean, they're okay, but I don't think they're there yet. I think that they're missing something. Um, yep, Chris, I agree. I don't think so much. Yeah, I agree. I think that they're close. I think that there's some validity to their existence, and I think that there is stuff that could become a more reliable kind of, even like as a backup amp. Like I think of those things as those would be great to have on the road as a backup in case your main amp craps the bed, something like that. I think that would be a really helpful thing to have. Um, but like the reverb on those things, man, when I've tried to play through those, if you even have it on one, it feels like you've got it on seven on a regular tank kind of thing. What are you saying here, Sasha? So I set one up for a player that came in to do some stuff, played 2 notes and asked what was yeah. There he is. It's okay,
sorry,
dude. Don't
man.
worry about it.
Yeah,
We were just talking
okay.
about the Tone Masters.
Yeah, yeah,
And just how, like, I think that it's a great idea, and I think of them more of like as a backup rig if you're on the road, like as like a in case my amp craps the bed, I got this. But I
yeah. I
think they
mean,
missed the mark a little bit. I don't think they're fully locked and loaded.
I think if you think that amplifiers have had guitar amplifiers, we've had best part of 70 years of them maturing, 70 maybe more, yeah. But so the whole kind of thing with the amp in a box, is still relatively immature. So I think it's still got a long way to go, but I can't see them going away.
Mm-mm. And I
and
don't
it is
want
a
them to.
no. I think it's a really good option to have because we all like to feel that boof in our backs, don't we? But if it craps out, you what happens? You get the house amp, and
Yeah, who knows what that's going to be?
yeah, exactly. So if you've got that second option on the end of your board, Iridium or Tone Master or Simplifier or anything like that, then yeah,
Yeah, Curtis just brought that up. Said Sasha had a great amp in a box a couple of days ago with that simplifier. I've never
yeah,
messed with that thing, and I have very limited experience besides the Kemper and besides playing through a Tone Master. And I haven't even messed with the HX Stomp, but I've heard tons of people say like they love the HX Stomp, like they could go on the road with it,
yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, I hear people talking, great things about the Capture X. I got one, and
wasn't for you.
I could not make it work. I mean, I tried. I play through a Tweed Deluxe. That's my kind of go-to. And I tried it through that, and it was just like on the top, and I couldn't do, and it didn't sound anything like my amp. Doesn't matter what cab I put on it, it didn't sound anything like it. So
That's interesting. Look at
yeah,
Aaron. Aaron just bought the UA Dream, which I've heard already seen some demos, and I kind of thought they sounded good, but man, he's saying he might return it.
yeah,
Um, that's the thing, man. It's gonna jive with some people, and it's not
yeah.
for others, So it's
I mean,
like,
I'd like to try an Ox.
oh, dude, that thing is the
That's the
bomb.
killer. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But their prices are,
You got to find somebody that works for UA and get the friends
yeah,
discount, man. For real.
yeah,
Not one of my buddies
yeah.
hooked me up, and I got the my interface that I'm through right now, the Apollo X4.
Huh?
So I think they do like a friends and family discount for friends
Sweet.
of employees. You just
Mm,
got to find
mm.
somebody. um, but that thing is dope, dude. Like I borrowed one to do a demo with it on my YouTube channel and was completely blown away. Like
Yeah,
to the point where I was like, these might be some of the best like recorded tones that I've gotten in my little room here.
yeah.
Um,
I
so
mean,
I
and
don't know.
there's lots of people that do really good. I mean, Sasha, he
Mhm.
records direct, and the guy that you had on the show a couple of weeks ago,
I know Buddy Blues does it as well.
yeah, Lennart,
Oh, Lenart, yeah. Yeah, he uses
yeah,
the
yeah, he
Ox,
goes
yeah.
direct as well, and he gets some absolutely killer tones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Chris Buck,
Oh my
man
God, yeah.
alive, Chris Buck, he goes direct, and it's like he's on fire.
Yeah.
But
That guy.
yeah, so yeah, I mean, people can make direct work. I can't.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, let's talk about not going direct, and let's talk
yeah,
about some nerdy crap with pedals and amps and whatnot. So
yeah,
you just said you have a Tweed Deluxe. That's your
mm,
drug of
mm.
choice
Yeah,
currently.
yeah, absolutely.
Ha
Yeah,
have
yeah,
you? How long have you had that amp?
yeah. 10 years. I'm a
Okay.
rare. I'm a rare satisfied guitar player, to be honest. Um, I'm happy with that amp. I'm not a real. I don't. I accompany myself more than step out into the limelight when it comes to guitar. I have a three piece, and I like good tone, but it's kind of back there. My stuff does. I don't really do solos and things, so I don't. Which is weird because I love fuzz. I'm like I gig a lot. Well, I haven't started gigging again actually since after lockdown, really, because I've just been too busy. Um, but I'm a home player. I'm like a bedroom player with the fuzz and the delays and the vibe and all going on. But I don't kind of take that out. When I gig, it's a little bit more like I'm serving the song really.
Yeah.
So that's where the fuzz comes for me. So that's why I understand the whole thing about hobby players and people who just play for the love of it. And there's a few people that kind of get a bit. It's a very contentious thing, isn't it? People get a bit snooty about musicians who don't gig, and I'm like, man.
Marcus frozen tundra of YouTube tunneling. We'll get it back, y'all. Everybody in the comments, favorite superhero, go. I haven't played a gig since 1997. That's the year I graduated from high school. That's high school, bro. You and I are the same age. It's a long time, Chris. Got to get out there. All right, we'll get this back. Like I said, we were having some issues beforehand, but we were hoping it was going to be okay. But this stuff happens, folks. Technology. Band broke up when I left for college. That's because you were the powerhouse, my friend. You were the Patronus of the Hogwarts, as it were. All right. No superheroes, guys. How about least favorite record? Put your least favorite album in the comments so we can throw shade at each other. Let me see. I don't know what mine would be. Least favorite record. That's a really tough question. Or least favorite record of a band that you like. Not a very big fan of Fish's record Lawn Boy, which might be sacrilegious for a lot of people, but never been a big fan of that record. When Marcus gets back, we're gonna have to we got to dive in deep on some Fuzz stuff because we were just about to go there. It was on the tip of my tongue. Sabrock. Curtis. Anything Pearl Jam. Get out of here. Get out of here. All right, there you are.
Back.
Nice. So we were just talking about Fuzz and like pedals. So when you go out, if you're playing with a 3-piece, do you even have a pedal board, or are you just going straight into your amp?
Yeah, no, I have a pedal board. Yeah, I've got I've got broadcast. I've got a harmonic percolator that I use turned kind of right down low. Yeah, it's a small board. I've maybe got 5-6 pedals on there. But
right.
Yeah.
And no fuzz? You don't even bring your own stuff?
Really? Oh, the harmonic percolator I use.
Okay.
But that's turned kind of right down. That just gives me I do a bit of slide.
But you don't use your own fuzz stuff at all when you're playing live. That's what I meant.
No, I don't.
Okay, that's funny.
Bizarre,
you make such good stuff.
Yeah. Although this the Zoe, I think I'm probably going to put on the board in place of the harmonic percolator. To be honest, because I just love it's such a complex tone in that pedal, and it's low gain. I definitely gravitate towards low gain fuzz. So fuzz is an odd one because there's kind of almost two parts to the fuzz. You've got the amount of gain, the amount of drive, the amount of saturation you've got, the sustain. But you can have a fuzz that doesn't have a lot of gain or a lot of drive and a lot of sustain, but it still be ridiculously fuzzy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like the hair on the note, and that's the kind of fuzz that I like. So into a cooking amp, a low gain fuzz, it's just such a textural thing. Whereas a high gain fuzz into an amp, sometimes it just flattens out and you don't really get all the texture and all that lovely detail. So for me, fuzz is more about the texture and you're kind of putting that on a nicely cooking amp, really.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I had I had a gig last Thursday night, and I
Is that
made
a
a point.
Tasmanian devil?
What this?
Your
No,
tattoo? Is it?
no, it's the Pearl Jam stick man.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah, yeah. It looks like Taz, but sorry, yeah, yeah, I see
yeah,
it.
no, yeah,
But
it's
my vision's not great. But yeah,
no,
yeah.
it's far away. But yeah, Aaron's throwing shade at me. I'm a huge Pearl Jam fan, huge.
I know. Yeah, yeah.
And I've been talking about getting a tattoo for 15 years, and then I was like, what am I gonna get? What am I gonna get? And
Sweet.
then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get stick man because like Pearl Jam is the reason I'm a musician. I would not be
Yeah,
playing
yeah, yeah.
guitar. And the Yield sign that red in the back is their album Yield. That's my favorite album, Pearl Jam. But anyway,
Got you. Okay.
so
Digress. Yeah.
anyway, but I had to call Chris from OCE on the way home because I was so happy with my tone that night, and I was stacking his wrench fuzz with
Yeah.
the Ariel Posen broadcast.
Yeah.
And there's something about that combination. Oh, damn it, Marcus, you froze again, buddy. But there was something about that combination of those two pedals in particular that really like lit my fire. And I'm kissing your ass right now, Chris. But it's such a great, like, fuzz is such a great tool to I guess explore, varied tones without having to do anything but change your volume on your guitar, obviously. And pickup selection. And that was what I did all dang night, and it was freaking glorious. And I probably only had Oh, you there, Marcus?
Yeah. I'm back.
I was just saying about my tone that night. It's just like fuzz is such a great thing because you just by changing a pickup and the volume on your guitar can totally change the vibe of your sound.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's not really that many pedals. Like we were talking beforehand, we can go here a little bit, but like I basically sold most of my overdrive pedals. I kept a couple that I love that I will always keep because I just like what they do with my amp in my hands.
Yeah.
But I don't sell any of my fuzzes because they are so varied and you can get so many different sounds. Like sometimes,
I mean, we touched on this just before we came on air, and it's about.
Oh no! Oh man, you there, buddy? Oh, there you are. There you are.
And I was just swearing a lot then.
So you were saying we were just talking about that.
I wasn't saying fuzz.
Oh man.
So I was just saying this fuzz is.
Oh damn. Oh, it's froze again. I hate the internet. I hate it so much. That's not true. I love it. It's amazing. If only we could be a fly on the wall in his shop right now, guys, and hear the profanity. Oh, this is great. This will go down in history, man. I hope it comes back in and he's in the middle of a great F-bomb. Like a really powerful guttural F-bomb. And when I put this on YouTube, it is not made for kids. Oh shit. All right. What else we got going here? Without fuzz, life as we know it would be impossible. That is correct. That is a true statement. Carbonite fuzz. Nice. Yes, wrench into the AP broadcast. That is correct, my friend. Oh man, I thought you were going to come back in the middle of an F-bomb.
No, not at all. I'm actually on my phone now. I'm going to try it on the phone and see if anything. Probably the audio is going to be a bit crappy. I don't know what's going on, but
that's okay, buddy.
See if this works.
Yeah, that's no worries. So you were just saying, we were talking about fuzz beforehand. Go.
Yeah. So fuzz is such a tone that you connect to, and it's for me. It's about the edge of the note. It's about feeling that note, the pick against the string, and it just connects you to your guitar so much more than an overdrive does. Maybe except you say that a good overdrive. Look at the broadcast. You just said you're a broadcast user, and that is something else because you connect to it. You know, it really
Yeah.
is one of those overdrives where you just feel connected to everything. So yeah, it's I don't think I have one overdrive apart from the broadcast that I would miss, really. Although saying that, I've never been. See if I can put this button. Is that going to fall off? No, that's good. I've never been a tube screamer guy.
Yeah. Oh, it froze again. Dag nabbit. Oh, there you are. There you are.
I'm back. Hang on.
Yeah, I haven't either, Marcus. Like I think I just recently fell out of love with the tube screamer circuit, to be honest.
Man, a lot. Oh, whatever. And I saw the TPS do their workshop at the Birmingham Guitar Show, and Mick had his 2-rock cranked, and they were basically saying, right, okay, here's my clean tone, and then he'd say, right, and now here it is with the tube screamer, okay, and I've never. I don't suppose. Well, no, I've never been in front of a big amp in a big room where somebody's gone, okay, this is my 2-rock, and now I'm going to put the tube screamer on to actually be able to define in your head the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that sounds all right, and I think tube screamers. I suddenly clicked with me that tube screamers are very similar in the way they're misunderstood, like treble boosters are, in that they only work in a kind of quite a narrow set of parameters with the right amp, and the right settings. They can sound terrible and they can sound amazing if you use them. Don't use them how they are, not how they are meant to be used, but use them within their sort of best window, if you like, of getting the good tone. Then they sound crap, and I've never used them properly, and that's what I
Yeah.
suddenly realised. They definitely need to be into a cooking amp and do that whole kind of drive down, volume up thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so how did we get here? Oh, talking about overdrives. Yeah. So yeah, but it's still not a fuzz.
No, and that's the thing. I think the thing that I've realized about the tube screamer circuit, for me personally, I think they're great. They're just like I feel a sea change right now for me, at least momentarily, even if it's momentarily. But I feel a sea change because I don't want to sound like everybody else. Like
Yeah.
I want a sound that is me. Like I want to find something that defines, like if you hear me play, you're like, oh, that's Mark's tone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I like darker stuff.
Yeah.
More than bright and sparkly, even though I've tried to do that thing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily get me going, I don't find that is inspiring as playing through the broadcast, at least right now,
No. There's not many things that, to be honest, not many drives that I've found that inspire me more than that broadcast. To be honest, it's such a step change in for an overdrive. It really, when it came out, when I picked one up, I was like, it's quite a simple circuit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It uses components that have not changed for probably 50 years, and you just think, how on earth has nobody done this before? Because it really is something different, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it totally is. I mean,
Yeah.
and when you stack it, it's even, kind of even more brilliant with fuzz. But So BVC and John Lomas improved the TS when he squeezed a mod FET transistor into the mod distortion. I'm not familiar with that pedal at all. It's funny because I feel like I know a lot of this crap, but like I also don't. Like, another
Oh man,
pedal that I was playing through today, man, like that I was just like goofing and working on some stuff that for a gig I have next weekend is the Walrus Audio 385. That thing
oh
is
okay,
freaking, oh my God, dude, for the money, that thing is so dynamic, so touch sensitive.
really, really.
Oh,
It's
it is
not something I've come across. No,
it's great. I mean, I'm a huge Walrus fanboy
yeah,
lately, but like it really is a great, that's one of the overdrive pedals I kept because I was
oh
like,
right, yeah,
and probably
groovy,
because it's similar to the broadcast in the way,
yeah,
because it's built around to be like sound like those Bell and Howell 385 projector amps is what it's supposed to sound
yes,
like, kind of thing.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Good.
which I
Sorry if the
love.
picture's moving around a bit.
Oh, that's
I'm
all good. That's all good.
just trying to get this phone perched somewhere.
Yeah, that's all good, buddy. And then I wanted to ask you, so as far as like your approach to how you want to build fuzzes, like we were talking about, like when a note is dying and like the transistor starving and it does
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Crumbly note. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So when you're building these, like I know obviously you're probably having fun and like trying to find the sound that's in your head,
mm,
which I'm sure can also probably drive you crazy too. Um,
yeah.
but like, what are you like currently right now? Like, what's getting you off in terms of like the sound you're going for?
I can tell you that exactly. So I picked up uh, Absolute Steel on Reverb a couple of weeks ago, and I've just taken it apart because I'm basically going to build a kind of modern version of it. So there's the shell. It was literally it's an old Mark II tone bender, but it's got
Mm-hmm.
hardly any paint left on it. It was rotten. Um, there's a back plate. So I've taken this apart. Um, there's the innards.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Okay, and it's a silicon Mark II tone bender, which people who follow me will probably realise I don't build with germanium. I only use silicon. I'm not a fan of germanium for lots of reasons. One of which is um, I have customers all around the world in some very warm climates, and it's freaking cold in England. Um, so I'll bias it for -20, and it goes out to I've got customers in Australia, so germanium is just going to be a struggle anyway. So um, some of the tone benders were built around being germanium, and they're really difficult to mimic using silicon. And this tone bender that I found is actually it's a Gen made in the Gen factory that made all the Vox tone benders.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool, man.
and they made it's really really hard to find, but they made these 3 transistor Mark II silicon tone benders, and I've been after one for years.
Mm-hmm.
And one came up, and it, like I say, it was an absolute. It had been to hell and back, this thing, but it still worked. And I plugged it in, and there's a couple of components that have kind of gone off, so it did sound a bit. It was like a treble booster on full treble,
Oof.
but that was just because some of the caps had just died in it. So, but I've got the circuit. I've and I spent today all day with the breadboard, recreating this circuit on the breadboard and just fine tuning it, just to get, as we were saying, just to get that that crumbly decay, and probably about an hour before I spoke to you about tonight, I was like, yeah, I'm happy with that. So
Man. So it took
yeah.
all day. So I mean, did that take you like
Oh
8
yeah,
hours to really? Oh man, that's crazy.
yeah. So it
Mm.
literally, I mean, it took me maybe 40 minutes to get the components into the breadboard and get a signal running through it. Fine, yeah, nice. That sounds like an all right fuzz. But it's that whole 80-20 rule, isn't it? I've got 80% of the job done. Now the last 20% is going to take me 80% of the time. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
um, and
man.
so yeah, literally just chasing it back, chasing it biasing. Although it's a 3 transistor fuzz, the first transistor is just a little boost stage, and it doesn't interact with the following two. So I'm going to really nerd out here. So in a Mark II tone bender, the second part of it, the two transistors, 2 and 3, are actually in the same configuration as a fuzz face. So it's literally a fuzz face with a boost on the front of it.
That's crazy.
That's what a Mark II tone bender is. More to it than that, because you put a boost in front of a fuzz face and it shits itself. But so you have to kind of tweak it. But it's a case of balancing with the decay of a note. We were talking about the crumbly decay with the 2 transistors. If you bias one and it gets all nice and crumbly and gated, sometimes you'll still have the other transistor with a nice clean decay. So you crumble up that, bias it so that one sounds crumbly, and then it affects the other one. So it's kind of this kind of feedback loop that just yeah, and then you have to try different transistors, and so yeah, it
Yeah.
takes all day. Yeah, yeah,
Man. I mean, I would think it would take more than that. Like, it's impressive that you can get to a point where you're like, I'm pretty happy with this, in that amount of
yeah,
time,
yeah. Oh, I mean, when I started, I started building pedals probably about 20 years ago, and I think it's a case of you take on what you're comfortable with. So I don't think there was ever any time when I'd get really frustrated with anything. But every time when you learn something, or when you go to do that thing again, you always bring that little bit of knowledge to it, and it doesn't make it easier. It's still just as difficult, but maybe your result becomes um, closer to what you want.
right.
Because we're always, like I say, we're always chasing. So um, yeah, I think we all pick things up and we bring them to the table, and it doesn't necessarily make our job easier. It just makes it the goal, you know, a, a better goal, really. I don't know how to
Yeah.
describe it, really, but you know what I'm
No, I
trying to say.
mean, I get it, dude. I've never held a soldering iron in my hands.
Ah,
So I've never done that. Now I'm going to change that because Curtis Mason from Mason Effects and I are going to get together, um, and we're going to do something on my channel, like to build a pedal, and he's going to teach me how to
sweet.
do it.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
it's an art form, dude. Like, I feel like all this stuff, from anytime I see, whoever it is, whether it's Aaron or Chris or Curtis or you or whoever is building pedals,
Mm,
and like showing the innards of your artwork, because it really is, man, like, it's calculated. It's this thing that's like you pour over, forever, and like, is this good enough? Like, I'm sure there's probably
yeah.
moments where you guys all feel like, is this something I should put out? Is it good enough? Are people going to like
Mm.
it?
Every
It's like,
day.
yeah, I
Yeah,
bet it's like
every day.
wearing your heart
Yeah,
on your
yeah,
sleeve, dude.
yeah, yeah.
It's
I mean,
crazy.
it's I do see it akin to songwriting, really, because songwriting is a marriage of uh, technical shit, um, with chords and progressions and music knowledge, and grabbing some magic out of the ether.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so it's that combination of creativity and technical knowledge, um,
Right.
and building pedals for me uh, is that same kind of marriage. I mean, some people, there are some pedal builders and some pedal designers um, who don't have an artistic flair. There's still a creative flair because you've made something. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter. But I think sometimes artistic and creative can be kind of a separate thing. Because like I say, if there's guys that just build. It's all about the tone. It's all about what the pedal brings to your guitar tone.
Mm-hmm.
And there's people that are attracted to that. There's musicians that are attracted to that. They don't, there's lots of guys out there that don't do fluff, that don't want, no messing. They just want the tool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But there's also people out there that want something that turns them on, in a different way. Nobody's robot. We're
Yeah.
not robots. So it's everybody has their own kind of way of approaching these things. But for me, yeah, I really enjoy the kind of artistic input of doing what I do.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I like
yeah.
the camaraderie of the community too, because there's so many of you guys that are
Oh
making
man,
such great
yeah,
stuff. Like
yeah,
Curtis, like is saying, it's a personal signature too. Like I can look at everybody's point to point and tell who made it, and that's pretty cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I
yeah,
I think that in it's like I think about it like the Chet Atkins quote, where somebody comes up to Chet, man, that guitar sure does sound nice, and it's sitting on the stand. He's like, "How does it sound now?"
yeah, yeah,
you know,
exactly, yeah,
because like
yeah,
you
yeah,
guys put all this energy into this thing that inspires us to play music and inspires us to take risks and do things musically we've never done before because of the sound that we hear. And
yeah,
if
yeah,
like, oh, that pedal sounds great, you know what I mean? Like without you guys putting the time and the effort and like the heart into it, where does that go? It evaporates into thin
yeah,
air,
yeah,
if it
absolutely.
doesn't come out. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely a lot to be said for kind of having. It's same with guitars, really. If you've got something in a guitar in your hand that somebody has put their heart and soul into building, it brings something out of you.
Hmm.
You just there is something magical about a beautiful guitar. I
Yeah.
mean, I love shitty guitars as well.
Me too.
Lots. I've got lots of Tesco's, and I've got old harmonies and all sorts of things. And I mean, this is my not latest, but this is an old piece of scrap guitar that I built up um, into the Fender, not supersonic, duosonics. It's a
Yeah.
copy of one of those. Yeah, copy of the
That's
single
cool.
single pickup duosonic I built. I mean,
That's super cool.
it's just a. I don't even I don't even know what brand the guitar was, but it was. In fact, I think the body and the neck are completely different anyway from different guitars. It's
Yeah.
just old like balsa wood, but that's
Nice.
my slide guitar. You know,
Nice.
but I digress. I have to fight with that. When you play it, it kind of you really have to dig into it to get anything out of it. Whereas I haven't got my telly with me. I've got a beautiful telly, um, and it's just like an old armchair.
Yeah.
And you just yeah, and it just brings something. And it's beautifully made, um, and yeah, it just brings something out of you. I think, yeah, yeah. So
Dude, I know. I have a guitar on order that's being built, and It's probably going to be one of the nicer guitars that I own, and I cannot wait to see what songs come out of it. It's like
Whose guitar is it? Who's making
Josh
it?
Williams.
I don't know the name. Don't know the brand.
So he's a builder in California, and he has a guitar. It's called a Mockingbird. It's like a 335.
Okay, yeah.
I've never had a 335 ever. I've wanted one forever. I've always been a Strat guy. I just have Strats and Tellys have been my thing.
I came to those. Oh, sorry, go on.
No. Were you saying you came to 335s?
Yeah, well, no, 330 actually.
Oh, 330.
So Casino, fully hollow. Oh, man, why didn't I pick one of those up 20 years ago? I got it's a silver tone.
Oh, nice.
It's beautiful. Really, I haven't got it in here. It's a beautiful sunburst, like tobacco burst kind of thing. I got some Sun Bear P90 replacement P90s in it. Good lad, thank you very much, Stuart. And they're great pickups. I mean, I've pretty much replaced all the electrics in it, but it's. I mean, I'm a telly player, and so you've got all that dynamic range. You've got that massive transient. It's just a really big and brash and ballsy tone Telecaster.
Love it.
And the 330 is absolutely the opposite of that. And it's really interesting, the songs that have started to come out with that are very, very different.
Mm-hmm.
And like you were saying, you can't wait to see what comes out of it. You'll be surprised. You'll be really surprised the direction
I can't wait.
You go in. Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm selling my Sir Telly to afford this, and it's a great guitar. The Sir is a great guitar. Yeah. I've gotten, Marcus, in the years, I'm 42. I'm about to turn 43, and in the years that pass recently, I've become less and less precious about material things. Like, if we have a limited time on this planet, I'm gonna enjoy myself while I'm here. I'm not gonna hold on to shit that I don't.
Amen,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just gonna be it's gonna be great. I can't wait, and I'm gonna be getting a new 2-rock too. Oh no, I lost it. There you are. I'm gonna be getting a new 2-rock as well. I'm gonna sell this 2-rock, and Eli's gonna make me something new too. So I got something cooking there. So I'm gonna be super toned out this year, and the year of 2022 is gonna be a year of tone for me. So brilliant. Anyway, Marcus, you want to do this lightning round get down?
You're gonna get the metronome out.
Oh, I'm gonna get it out. Excuse me while I whip this out. All right. Here we go. All right, we're gonna cruise in altitude. What do we got? We got 112 BPM, which is pretty standard. Yeah. So you know the drill. There are no rules. You can explain your answers if you want. You can also just cruise through if you want. Whatever you want to do. All right. I changed up the first question. So now we're gonna do Beatles or Stones.
Oh, Beatles.
Okay. If I would ask you Lennon or McCartney, who's your guy?
Oh, McCartney. Every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because, well, he's the positive guy. He's just work ethic, always positive. Wrote some amazing songs, and Lennon I mean, he wrote some great stuff, but he needed McCartney. You look at the solo stuff afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Wings, man. So
I know.
Just and whereas, I mean, I know John Lennon wrote some great tunes, but he couldn't write an album for Toffee.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at Wings albums.
I know.
So, yeah,
I mean,
McCartney.
just take Ram in general. Just Ram.
Yeah.
For a treat, salty or sweet?
Salty.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If you're gonna sit down and watch a movie, suspense or comedy?
Oh, suspense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Do you know what? I do like good comedy, but my bar's pretty high for some reason. So most of the time, when it's a comedy, I'm like, oh, this is bollocks, man. Is there anything else we can watch? Sorry to curse, but yeah, I'm usually disappointed with comedy.
Well, the
I went and
British
saw.
have such a dry wit. I love the British wit. It's like
Yeah.
I grew up on it too. My dad, like, I was raised on Monty Python, like,
Oh,
my whole
okay.
life.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
it's so funny. All right. For traveling, take a cruise or fly to a destination.
Oh, 10 years ago, I probably would have said fly. But we've been planning on doing some long rail journeys, just to add for them to be part of the holiday.
Hmm.
Rather than rushing to the destination, actually make the travel to the destination part of the deal. So I guess I'll probably say cruise, although you do tend to put £3 a day on a cruise. There's
I don't think
nothing
I
else
could
to
do
do
it.
but eat. Yeah.
Yeah, eat and drink. Um, Brass or woodwinds.
Brass all
Okay.
day long. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's Reading, man. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, I get
just
it.
that horn section. Just
Mhm.
now, here's the thing, right? When if you get a chance, listen to Otis Redding's "Mr. Pitiful." Okay, we're realizing that was the first take for the horn section after two run throughs.
Really? I did
Okay,
not know that.
yeah, yeah, and the horn
Dang.
section is absolutely on it with their stabs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just ridiculous.
That's something about that music. I love Otis Redding.
Yeah,
Like like out of all the Stax musicians, um,
yeah.
but that live from Monterey video, there's a live, oh dude. There's a live video on HBO Max right now of that
Yeah,
concert. And
yeah,
that band is
yeah,
just locked. And there is nothing funkier than a band like that when they're out their A game. Like it's
yeah.
just
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I
unbeatable.
mean, yeah, totally. It's I went to see an act called the Postmodern Jukebox.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've got a guy there who channels Otis big
Oh
time,
man.
and he really lives it because he does that whole kind of thing. He does his part, and then it's so emotional. He has to kind of go back on the stage and just kind of just gather himself again and come back up to the mic and hit the next verse, and it's just
Oh,
brilliant. And
I love
you
it.
could tell he was really feeling it. So yeah, but
That's the
that
way to
is
do it.
yeah,
It's the way to do it. Kittens or puppies?
kittens.
Surf or ski?
I've got cats.
Oh, you got cats?
Surf or ski. Yeah, loads of cats. Got four of them. Um, surf or ski? Probably surf. I like the warmth. I don't like it cold.
All
Yeah.
right. Audio Slave or Rage Against the Machine?
Or Rage Against the Machine.
All right.
Yeah. Audio Slave.
Uh,
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. Rage Against the Machine. Yeah. Definitely.
all right.
They're just a bit more urban, aren't
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Big Muff or Univox Super Fuzz?
they? Super fast. Duh.
Yep. All right, Marcus, last question. You know this
Yeah.
one. If
Yeah.
you could take one record, and it might be from earlier, I don't know, but if you could take one record and erase it from your memory so you could go back and listen to it one more time, what would it be?
Yeah. Absolutely. You guessed it. That Jam in the City. It is just.
All right.
Yeah. Got to.
That
You've
was your
listened
whole
to it anyway,
world,
so
huh,
yeah.
man? That was really
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah. I mean, I went out and saw. I saw Paul. I saw the Jam for the first time when I was 14, and I saw them. I don't know, 6 or 7 times in the next few years, all over the
mhm.
country as a kid. And I've seen Paul Weller Oh, crikey. The Style Council and Paul Weller, probably 30, 35 times, you know. Uh,
Mhm.
just, yeah. I don't avid about many things, but there's just something about that guy's career that just makes me, just, I don't know, just give it up for him. Just brilliant. Yeah.
I get it, man. I mean, I get
Mm,
it. I mean, I
mm.
put permanent ink on my body from a band that changed my life, so I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah, absolutely.
It's
Yeah,
it really does put you on a path, man. Like, I
it
think that
does. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's a lot to be said for, and what's crazy, man, is like not everybody has, like, I guess everybody has something, but not everybody has music as that thing. And it's
Yeah.
almost like I feel not like not sorry for somebody, but I'm like I want someone to feel how powerful music can be,
Mm,
for because
mm,
there are
mm,
people, like my wife isn't like a huge music person. Like,
mm.
she listens to music in the house sometimes and whatnot, but she's not, no, she's nowhere near as like deep in the weeds as
Obsessive.
I am.
Yeah,
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 obsessive.
yeah,
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 it's the perfect
yeah,
word.
yeah, yeah.
So it's funny because I sometimes don't understand when people don't resonate with music in that way, but everybody's
Mm,
different.
mm.
So, but
Yeah, it's
so
it's I don't know. Maybe some people just don't have that gene. I guess that they don't. Things don't go in so deeply.
hmm yeah. It's
But
crazy. Well, I'm
brilliant.
glad we all do. I'm glad there's something
Mm.
that we all connect on and can create friendships over, because there's not many things in this world. I mean, what are some other things in this world, sports or whatever, like there's few things that really kind of bond people together and can connect people
No,
even across
absolutely.
the
Yeah,
ocean,
yeah. Mm, mm.
It's pretty special, man. So,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Marcus, dude, thank you so much for making time and staying up
No
late
worries,
and
brother.
hanging
No,
with
it's
me.
been a
This was
blast. Really enjoyed
super
the
fun.
shabby internet connection, but there we go. Yeah, yeah,
It'll go down in history. That's all right. We
yeah.
had it all. Then if it happened again, I was gonna be like, all right, who's seen Obi-Wan so far on Disney Plus? Let's talk about that and have some spoilers.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah,
I've
Marcus,
seen
thanks so
the.
much.
No
Go ahead.
worries, man. Okay, so I really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Of course. Everybody, check out Marcus's stuff. I mean, you're on Instagram. You're starting up a YouTube thing, creating a whole
Yeah,
community there. Tell everybody where they
yeah.
can find everything.
Yeah, so at Reeves Electro on Instagram, and I they stopped giving channel names on on YouTube, but yeah, just search Reeves Electro on YouTube, and I'll come up like a nasty rash. Um,
Nice.
so yeah, and I'm doing
Pass.
nerd talks every Friday. Well, I try and get them in every Friday. Deep dives on anything from circuits to soldering to component markings, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, subscribe.
Nice. And pop your pocket protector in and get in there and chat some nerdy stuff with Marcus.
Absolutely,
Um,
yeah,
Curtis. So yeah, Marcus is getting his YouTube up and running. So everybody go subscribe to that and check out what he's doing. Everyone, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and we'll
yeah.
see you next time.